you?
I'm fabulous. Did y'all sleep at all after that game last night?
I slept well. How you slept, Skip?
You know, it's interesting. We've now had 3 finals games, and I have correctly predicted all 3. And across the table, somebody has correctly predicted only 1.
I had a caveat yesterday, Skip.
Oh, wow.
You know I said that now.
No caveats on this show. It's only W's and L's, and you have taken 2 L's, and I've had all 3 dubs.
I want you to remember this.
Yes.
When we pick the Cowboys next year, and if this happens, I'm out. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, that same energy you got right now. I started. Do you like Kawhi? You see Kawhi how he did? Normal Powell, and they get ready to walk out.
I don't really pay much attention to number 2.
He wanted a fist bump. He wanted a fist bump. Kawhi, and Kawhi looked at him like pointed like we going that way.
Oh.
And then you see how
he's above his team.
Don't do this. See,
he's too good for his teammates.
I hate that.
He looks down on his teammates, especially bench players.
You see what he did to Van Fleet? Van Fleet actually took his hand and put it in his hand. He tried to fist bump him after the game. Kawhi said, we got 2 more games. Then I'm going to do all the fist bumping.
Well, you know, that guy didn't have all that much to do with
don't you do this. Come on, Jay, come on. Come on.
Now, I did think I might see a costume of sorts because you predicted at least 30, and he had 30.
I couldn't do it because I picked the Warriors.
All right. That's fair.
I just wish you had tried to do it, because you would have heard a mouthful.
I know. That's why they do it.
Yeah.
Well, let's get you right into Game 3. The Warriors without Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant last night at Oracle, as Shannon mentioned, but they still had Steph Curry. He scored 47 points to try to keep him in the game. Ultimately, though, just not enough firepower. Kawhi Leonard led the Raptors again with 30. The Claw, as Skip mentioned, did not have to do it alone. All 5 Toronto starters scored at least 17 each.
Really?
They did.
I missed that. Wow.
You don't miss much, I believe you. The Raptors won by 14, now have a 2-1 series lead. So, Shannon, were you more impressed with the Raptors or unimpressed by the Warriors?
I was more impressed with the Raptors because they didn't take the foot off the gas. I think a lot of times when teams know that they should win, and they look over there, no KD, no Klay, they say, we're going to kill a gnat with a sledgehammer today.
I agree with that.
And Skip, from the first quarter on, they never let the Warriors get within 7. I thought Siakam and Marc Gasol was really aggressive early, and it didn't matter the matchup. You see Siakam? He's like, Iggy, you're too small. Punished him. They try to go to Livingston. He punished him. And so now, because you got to have Draymond to try and guard Kawhi to try to slow him down. But I like, I want to say Powell so bad, Marc Gasol, because Skip, he was extra aggressive. He would put the ball on the floor. He's like, no. I'm not going to give you a little measly 6 points like I did the last game. I'm going to give you some buckets today. And I like that. As Jen read, all 5 starters had at least 17 points. Kyle Lowry was unbelievable yesterday. He needed that. Danny Green. And sometimes, Skip, well, you know what? When the shots are falling, like Danny Green threw up late last night, he threw a couple of them up early. But when he hit that shot late after Kawhi saves it from going out of bounds, and then Van Fleet does that again, sometimes, Skip, you just got to throw your hands up and say, guys, we'll get y'all game 4. Because there's nothing you can do. They could do no wrong last night. Every run that the Warriors would start, they would quail it. They would find a way to suppress that. Steph had it going the entire night. The first quarter, he the one that kept him in it. And I was like, dude, the only way y'all can lose this game if y'all let Steph go for like 60. He's well on his way. All right, is anybody going to, just double him? But Skip, you see Steve Kerr put a bug in the official's ear. They tried that box. They tried that box and won, and they got a lot of zone defense call, and Steph Curry was going up there knocking it down. But you had to be impressed with the Warriors. And this goes to show you, Skip, I don't care the type of performance that you have. A good to great team will suppress any one player. And that's what we saw last night. We saw historical. This is the second most points ever scored in the finals game in a loss. We saw the one last year.
Did we ever?
Yeah, we saw it.
Yeah.
And now
we saw LeBron James with 49 points at the end of regulation, and he was too afraid to take the shot to win the game.
All I know.
Who knew?
We saw Steph Curry have a playoff career high, and they never got within 7, and they lost by 14. That's what we know. So I was very impressed with the Raptors because they came out in the game. You hate saying, series tied 1-1, a must win. Yeah, this was a must win because if you can't beat them without KD, you can't beat them from start to finish without Klay Thompson. You deserve to lose that game and that series. And that's what would have happened had they not did what they did last night. So I was very impressed with the Raptors.
Now it's my turn. You make some pretty good points. How could I not be impressed with what Toronto did last night? And I was. But in the end, as I stepped away and tried to go to sleep and couldn't go to sleep, I was more unimpressed with what Golden State could not do, especially Steph Curry. Right before my very eyes, as I stepped back last night, I saw Steph's mystique and magic fade at Oracle. Those were as quiet of 47 points as I've ever seen from anybody, especially that guy who can be as explosive a three-point shooter as we have ever seen in the history of this game. Those were as impactless of 47 points as I can ever remember, because there were more twos than threes. It was not a three-point shooting barrage from Steph Curry, right? He made 6. He has a career-high 13. So he made 6. And wait a second, Danny Green made 6 for the other team? What did I tell you about Danny Green? Where is he? He's disappeared. I said, trust me, I know him. Watched him for all those years in San Antonio. It's finals time. He will rise and shine. He will snap right out of his slump. And did he ever last night, right on schedule?
Will he go missing again in game 4?
Right? He will come and he will go, but he will come back again.
Game 1 and 3, he came.
Well, again, you can trust that down the stretch, and we're just getting started with this series. I still say Golden State's going to win in 7 games, and we've only played 3. Okay, but Danny Green showed you what he is capable of on the biggest stage in the sport with those, especially those 3 in the flurry late in the third quarter. And what did I tell you yesterday? I told you Kyle Lowry was going to make 4 threes, and he made 5. You were saying, where's Kyle Lowry?
Yeah,
I said, he plays better on the road. He crumbles under the pressure to live up to his superstardom at home, and he is a 5-time All-Star. So they were making threes at a higher rate than Steph Curry was. So in the end, I will give you this. Toronto, look, there was no Clay and no KD, and there's no Kevon Looney. And I'm going to say it one more time because this is a big little loss. Kevon Looney, he's their best rim protector. He is their best post defender. He is their best pick setter. And that's a big gaping hole to have in the middle of that lineup. And our man DeMarcus Cousins, because he's just trying to play his way back in shape, he came up real small last night, right?
He became unplayable.
Okay? But it was supposed to be all about Steph. And remember, the point spread still hovered above water all the way. It fell at the end of the night, right before tip-off. It fell all the way to 2.5. But Golden State was still favored at home. And by the way, they're still favored by 5.5 to win Game 4. So the bettors, and especially the odds makers, are saying, wait a second. Even if there's no Clay and no KD, and it's still possible there'll be no Clay and no KD on Friday night.
That is correct.
Okay? Even though you're still looking at a team that's still really good. Steph Curry's won 2 MVPs, won unanimously, right? And Draymond Green has made 3 All-Star teams and 5-time All-Defensive team, and most people say he's on a Hall of Fame arc, right? Well, was he out there last night?
Yep.
Okay. You could say, well, I didn't see very much of him, but he was supposed to be out there. DeMarcus Cousins is a 4-time All-Star, and he was out there. And Iguodala made an All-Star team once upon a time, and he's a Finals MVP. So I thought, and you were probably hoping at tip-off, there's still that 3-ring pride that this team has. There's still that heart of champion pride, right?
Skip, there's not one chance. Once I realized that Klay Thompson was not going to play, there's not one second.
Okay, it's easy for you to hindsight 2020.
No. I'm saying once it became abundantly clear that he wasn't going to play, it was breaking news. Klay Thompson will be active.
How many times have we seen the wounded tiger theory, as I was taught as a young reporter covering the NBA? Wounded tiger theory says you better be careful when they got 3 stars, or you better be careful because they're all going to pull together and suck it up and gut it out and say, watch this, because they were at home. That's supposed to be their house,
I know,
right?
Skip, but at some point in time, you got to have the talent to bind together.
Okay.
And come on now, let's be real. I mean, Quinn Cook is a great story. Bogut, McKinney, Jordan Bell, Jerebko. Really, Skip?
You know, Bogut once upon a time made All-NBA. That's how good he was.
Yeah.
All-NBA.
But how long ago that's been? That's been many injuries ago.
But he's got some.
But Skip,
he's decorated.
Skip, you can't say a guy made something 13 years ago and think he's that same guy, because he's not.
Okay, but the guy who was in in the heat of the storm last night, the guy who was in the perverse show us that he did not need Kevin Durant or even his splash brother Klay Thompson was Steph Curry. Am I right about that?
No, that's not.
Well, I'm going to start it. I'm starting it right now because that's what happened. No, it is. So what happened in the third quarter? Steph Curry tried to go globe-trotter. He tried to put on the show of shows because what does Golden State do in the third quarter? They own it. What did they do at Toronto? Thanks to the failing of number 2. What did they do coming out of the gates in the second half in the third quarter? Help me out, Mr. Sharpe. What did your researcher tell you?
-5.
Okay. No, they gave up an 18-0 run to start the third quarter. And it was a 20-0 run going back to the second quarter.
Right.
And where was number 2 during 20-0? If you're that guy, you should stop that.
How?
Well, he did not.
He can't cover everybody.
Oh, come on.
Skip, he had 40.
Okay, so the point is, here came Steph. We're talking about last night now.
Okay.
Steph Curry took 13 shots in the third quarter. If you multiply that times 4, do you realize that would be the most shots